What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. So I was gonna make this video a couple of days ago when I first read the article. Just been a little busy, so made time, and I want to talk about it. Freddie Roach has stated that his star pupil, if it were up to him, if he was the actual matchmaker or promoter, he would rather see Manny Pacquiao face Ruslan Provonikov on April 12th at the MGM, as opposed to avenging his loss to Timothy Bradley. Now, this is what Freddie Roach said, and I'll give you my thoughts after. He says, I want Manny to look good in his next fight, and I think Tim Bradley wants too much money. Plus, I think he will run all night and make for a poor showing for Manny. So, Ruslan Provodnikov is a better fight for Manny. They are good friends, though. I'm trying not to make it happen, but to be honest, it's probably the best fight for Manny. I've seen them spar many times, and it's competitive. My opinion, I think it's bullshit. And there's a lot of double standards, and I'm here to expose some of them. One of the double standards being that people play sides, Bloods and Crips. People want to take a stance, and there's outright criminal behavior. Not criminal in the sense of, oh, that's against the law, but criminal in the sense of things that are happening that we as boxing fans allow. So we allow it for fighter A, but fighter B, we don't. So right here, you have Freddie Roach who's telling you that I want Manny to look good in his next fight, so we'd rather elect not to fight Timothy Bradley, but instead fight Ruslan Provodnikov. To me, that's kind of a backdoor. Don't get me wrong, Ruslan Provodnikov, I would love to see that fight. It could be very exciting. Manny Pacquiao's one fight removed from being knocked out. Ruslan can crack. He showed his power transitions well at 147, and he had Timothy Bradley in the fight of his life. Personally, I think Ruslan had Bradley in worse shape than Pacquiao ever did when Pacquiao and Bradley initially fought. However, I don't think that proves as much. As great of a fight as it might be, Manny Pacquiao being an international star, I don't think Ruslan Provodnikov has the fan base. So since his last fight with Brandon Rios, who's more popular, I would say, in the States, not saying no one likes to watch Ruslan, but he's had longer to build his name, and there's more appearances on networks and stuff like that, headlined or close to headlining. He was on the Nonito undercard with Mike Alvarado. He was the co-main event. So I think fans have had a chance, in the States at least, to understand and know Brandon Rios and his name a little bit more. And that fight only did 500K, so as exciting as it may be, it's not the best fight. Plus, Pacquiao's always struggled with technically sound boxers. And you have a trainer who's, in essence, playing matchmaker. Whatever happened to the best fighting the best? And the double standard comes into play with Amir Khan versus Manny Pacquiao, myself included. Tons of people have spoken out and said, I don't like this fight for a variety of reasons. Yet, some people are gung-ho, and they'll sit back and listen to Freddie Roach state these things. And I think it's kind of taking the back door. Like I said, nothing against Ruslan Provodnikov, but he is there to be hit. So, in essence, the only chance, basically the only chance he has to beat Pacquiao is to overpower him, to come forward, take a beating, take the shots, take the angles, and just really rip Pacquiao to the body and just really stop him. That's the only way I can ever see Ruslan Provodnikov beating him. Just out-strengthening him, overpowering him, and just being too much, too fast, because Pacquiao was just knocked out not too long ago. That's it. Ruslan Provodnikov, in my wildest dreams, I can't picture him outboxing Pacquiao. Pacquiao's too fast. He's too seasoned. He's a southpaw. I just can't picture it. So really, Ruslan has one way to win, and that's just with his devastating punching power and just being persistent and relentless. Yet, you have a fight with Timothy Bradley, which I think Bradley also has a bigger name in the States. People have seen him fight Provodnikov, and I'm sure he gained fans for his performance in that. He fought Marquez on pay-per-view. He already fought Pacquiao, so fans are growing to know his name. He was on the HBO 24/7. Yet, you have, again, Freddie Roach, a coach, trainer, and he's kind of playing matchmaker and feeding to the public what should happen. Whatever happened to the matchmakers making these fights and the best fighting the best? Again, Pacquiao versus Bradley it may not be as intriguing or action-packed, but if you like boxing, which is what we're all here for at the end of the day, it's more of a complex fight for Pacquiao. And I'm really anxious to see if Pacquiao could put that demon to rest. It was a controversial fight. Some people had Bradley winning, some people had Pacquiao winning. Cool. So this will be the end-all be-all and settle the score once and for all. If Pacquiao came out and let's say he knocked out Bradley, he gets all the credit in the world because the first one was controversial and close, and he went and annihilated Bradley. Cool. Bradley was undefeated. You put a blemish on his record and you move forward, try to push for the Mayweather fight or whatnot. But if he doesn't and he struggles and he doesn't look good or he looks even more lackluster than he did in the first fight, then I feel like that's going to hurt Pacquiao's stock. So it feels like Freddie Roach is in essence trying to push the Ruslan Provonikov fight or put that out in the public and avoiding the more problematic fight. Again, I have no problems with Ruslan Provodnikov, but again, I just see that double standard. Freddie Roach is basically going on record as saying I want him to look good in his next fight, and I'd prefer Pacquiao to fight not only a more one-dimensional fighter with power, but a one-dimensional fighter that he trains. Problem with that is this. Bradley is more or less a wild card. Bradley trains with Joel Diaz. They have their own gym in California. They do their own thing. Ruslan Provodnikov, at one time or another, up until the fight time where he might fight Pacquiao, has trained recently with Freddie Roach. So, as a trainer, if you're training someone and you prepare them for previous fights, you know kind of ins and outs. So, if Roach is with his star pupil, it's kind of an easier fight because he can develop a great game plan based on having experience and seeing both fighters spar together and having fought. So it's like if you train them, if you know anything about training, there's little things you pick up. The little, like, it doesn't even have to be training. We'll simplify it. Most people have jobs, I'm assuming. So even look at your coworkers. You probably know little ins and outs about your coworkers. Oh, Johnny comes in late. My manager's real OCD. You know things, and that's just because you work with them on a daily basis. So it's no different. So Freddie Roach is working closely preparing Ruslan Provodnikov for the fight. Trust me, he should know weaknesses and strengths. If he's a good coach, which he is, and he's a good trainer, he's been nominated trainer of the decade and all kinds of stuff like that, then as a trainer, then he should be picking up on that. So to me, that is an easier fight because Ruslan only has one shot at beating Pacquiao. That's with devastating punching power. And he's going to have to try to make it a dog fight, a nasty fight. And hopefully these guys don't have too much sympathy for each other because they're friends. Like, oh, I don't really want to. Like, if Ruslan's fighting Alvarado, he can give a fuck. Like, man, I'm about to dog him. I'm about to just fuck him up. But there's always going to be some holdback to a degree when you're fighting. If you watch the movie with Tom Hardy, who played Bane in Dark Knight, he was in that MMA type movie where he was a mixed martial artist and he ended up fighting his brother. So in the movie, it's actually a really good movie. I want to watch it again, but it's a really good movie. It has Nick Nolte, and trust me, there's probably a little bit in you that you want to win the fight, but I'm sure there's a little bit of holdback. And what I mean by holdback is where you'll show them a little bit more mercy than you may have shown another opponent who you can give a fuck about. Plus, like I said, Freddie Roach has the advantage because he already knows how Provodnikov fights. He works with him close-knit. And like I said in my analogy, if you had a coworker, you probably know things about your coworker, who they fucked, who they sleep with, who comes in late, who brings their lunch, who doesn't. And that's no different for a trainer. So I think that's kind of taking the back door. Bradley, whether it's exciting or not, it's not Freddie Roach or any trainer's job to tell us and foreshadow. Who knows? What if Bradley is more improved and he decides to fight like he fought Ruslan Provodnikov? You never know. I don't know anyone on YouTube. If I'm wrong, send the link with the date and time the video was posted. You can screenshot that, of anybody who predicted Bradley and Provodnikov would be fight of the year. I didn't do it on my channel, and I have subscriptions to plenty of channels. Everybody was like, oh, this is just a tune-up fight to get Bradley back in the mix. Nobody took Ruslan serious that I know of. Like I said, if you have a video of someone who, before the fight actually took place, said that that's going to be a possible fight of the year, then let me know. I'll PayPal you $5 right now. So, again, it's not Freddie Roach's decision to make the fight, let alone to convince what fight is going to end up whatever type of way. Like I said, I didn't think Bradley versus Provodnikov would be a good fight. Edeslandi Lara versus Angulo. Man, when I heard that, I was like, this is a bullshit fight, because I was like, Angulo's too slow. There's no way he could fuck with or get Edeslandi Lara in a compromising position. And that actually ended up being a great fight. And Angulo knocked Edeslandi Lara down twice, which is way out of left field. I could have never imagined that based on the style. I thought Edeslandi Lara's too elusive, too quick, with respectable power. I never would have imagined Edeslandi Lara would get knocked down twice in a potential fight of the year type fight. So it's not Freddie Roach's deal or his job to announce and foreshadow. He's not a soothsayer where he can just read somebody's palm. Oh, this is going to be a boring fight, and like, it's not his job to do that and tell us what's going to be a boring fight. And again, it should be about the best fighting the best. And back to the double standard, if Mayweather fights whoever you don't want to see him fight, it's a cherry pick. You're like, oh, he's a cherry picker. He's a champion. He needs to be fighting the best person. He gets so much money. Yet you have Pacquiao's trainer, and I don't blame Pacquiao because he didn't make the statement. But I do blame Pacquiao for being a puppet and not really speaking up and being such a nice person where I feel like other people dictate his career, and we don't really even know what Pacquiao's stance is on a lot of these issues. But he lets Freddie Roach really speak on behalf of both of them and shit. And if it's about the best fighting the best, then Timothy Bradley beat Ruslan Provonikov, is still undefeated, and has the belt that he beat Pacquiao for. So whether you think it's going to be boring or not, it's not your job to let the public know. You could say, oh, I think it'll be boring, but that's the better fight. And again, I think that fight will sell more than Ruslan Provonikov, who, it takes time to build a brand and build your name up. People don't just know you. A lot of diehard boxing fans, they know Ruslan because he had great fights, Alvarado, Timothy Bradley, etc. You might know him if you're really into it. You might know him from DeMarcus Corley's and other names. But again, I just don't feel it's Freddie Roach's job to predict how the fight is. It's going to be a stinker and Bradley's going to run. Fuck it. If he runs, get a game plan to counteract that. That's your job. Your job is to find the game plan to combat it, not prevent the fight from happening or brainwashing the fans into thinking the fight shouldn't happen. Because realistically, the fight that will prove more, to me at least, is Pacquiao and Bradley. Despite if it's boring as fuck and you want to fast forward it or TiVo it, it's the fight that should happen. Pacquiao lost his belt to Bradley. Bradley's still undefeated and has a win over Pacquiao and Ruslan and Marquez, the guy that knocked Pacquiao out. So despite if fucking Freddie Roach thinks it's boring, it's the fight that makes the more sense. And if Pacquiao can clearly beat him, then it's going to earn him a lot more credit than beating Ruslan Provonikov, a guy who you've sparred with before. Your trainer was his trainer, so you might even know the blueprint on his weaknesses and how to beat him. So by far, the Bradley fight is the fight where I will respect Pacquiao and that win a lot more. If Pacquiao beats Ruslan, I respect it, especially if he stops him, I respect it, but not how I respect him for beating the trickier fight. So let me know what you guys think. As always, hate, comment, or subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off.